Hello, Durud and Shalom. My favorite people are already in the chat. Amazing. Comrade Shifty, Javid Shah, Lior, Sayed, Amir. Who else? Okay, well, fantastic. Okay, I don't know that person, but yes. Ooh, okay. Hey, Nora was here. Nora, are you back? Fantastic. Okay, great. Fantastic. Admins are here. My favorite people are here. And Sam is here. Carolyn is here. We could get started. Okay, now that Carolyn is here, we could definitely get started. Okay, let's go to the beginning here. Let's just jump right into it.
The investigation is ongoing.
I do not trust that answer.
That we actually have footage of a projectile coming in makes it unmistakable that this is a U.S. attack.
167 killed, all little girls.
This is a playbook that you see out of terrorists, surrounding themselves with children.
What's the story about the volleyball game that they also bombed at the same time with an experimental new missile, and they killed 21 girls there?
It's basically a missile that explodes above the ground and basically shoots out 180,000 tungsten pellets in all directions. The U.S. denied any responsibility.
When I was on your show previously, I disputed the 40,000 dead. Yeah. I'm not Iran's lawyer. I'm just here to argue against inflated war propaganda.
Oh my fucking God.
Deny, deflate, and delay was the standard policy of the IDF in Gaza whenever there were claims of tragic accidents or crimes. We talked about them regularly on this show. First, they denied all knowledge. Next, they'd flood the zone with reasons to blame somebody else. Next, they promised an investigation with an outcome to be published someday. Trump administration and the US military is now accused of doing exactly the same thing about the missile strike which destroyed an Iranian school, killing many children almost 3-4 months ago. This week, a congressional committee challenged the...
I mean, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They're investigating it. Nobody's hiding anything. What is, wait a minute. What is he talking about? They're investigating.
Outcome to be published someday. Trump administration and the US military is now accused of doing exactly the same thing.
These investigations take a long, Piers Morgan. I don't know how you don't understand it. It takes a long time to investigate these things. I don't know why he doesn't understand it. You need it. If you actually go into all of the details of what it takes to come up with a proper response, you would be so shocked about how nuanced and detail and how careful you have to be with gathering the information, analyzing the information. In fact, you would be surprised why it doesn't take longer given what goes into these investigations.
About the missile strike.
By the way, guys, I want to be engaging with you guys, so I want you guys to give me your opinions as well. I'm really interested to see what you guys, this is a very sensitive topic, and I want to also see what your guys, what your opinions on it is as well.
Which destroyed an Iranian school, killing many children almost 3-4 months ago. This week,
killing many children. Piers Morgan, you have not spent as much time talking about the children that the Islamic regime has been killing. You have not spent, there's no dedicated show that you have. Look at this. The name of this show is the unmistakably a U.S. attack, Trump military accused of bombing Iranian school. Right, you don't have this level of dedication. I know you guys hint to the fact that it happened, the Iranian regime killing so many Iranian civilians, including children, for the past 47 fucking years, and you guys ignored that. Thousands of executions every fucking year, and you guys didn't talk about it. And now we have 150 children here dying, and you have, because it's the US and because it's not the regime, you have shows dedicated to it. Like, it's the anti-Americanism here dedicating a show to 150 and ignoring, because it's by the US allegedly, and then thousands of Iranians being killed for every single year, and you haven't made a single show about them for years, shows that the anti-Americanism, the anti-Westernism. And this is, by the way, this Piers Morgan shows that you are not at all a defender of the West. You're anti-West, you're anti-Western values, you're anti-Western countries. Nothing else could justify this hypocrisy.
Congressional committee challenged the head of the US Central Command.
The investigation is ongoing. As soon as it is complete, I'm happy to be as
So that's a
transparent as
no.
possible.
We will not
And-
take
and what-
responsibility
and-
for something we very obviously did.
And what
You fucking idiot. Who is this garbage person? So obvious to you, maybe, but not to people who need empirical evidence. Why would he take what? Who would ever take responsibility before the investigations are finalized? What the fuck are you talking about? Which politician or military official will come and make it official before it's official? If he comes here and takes responsibility for it, he's making something official before it's supposed to be official. You will make it official once the investigation is over, not before. Why would he do that? Who would do that? Also, we got our first super chat, and guys, we have to keep count of our super chats ourselves, because YouTube, for some reason, is not keeping count properly. You can see the counter for our super chat says 0, but I can see that Amir already gave us a super chat. All right, so we're going to keep count ourselves. This is number 1, and we're trying to get to 10 for every stream. Okay, so Amir saying blaming the good side for whatever possible and not the bad side on anything. Yes, blaming the good side for whatever possible and not the bad side on anything. It's very telling. It is. It's the hypocrisy. It's the selected outrage. It's unbelievable. And thank you, Ami, for the super chat. Actually, I need to keep it starred so I could count them. So that was our first super chat of the day.
So it's a complex investigation. The school itself is located on an active IRGC cruise missile base.
Absolutely.
It's more complex than the average strike.
I do not trust that answer.
Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? What we trust is the result of the investigations. We don't give a fuck that you don't trust that answer. You're not even supposed to trust that answer. You're supposed to wait for the results of the investigation. Unbelievable. Say thank you so much for the super chat. We are at 2. We're at 2. And look, Lior is accounting for us. Thank you, Lior. We are at 2 super chats. And thank you, Sayed, for the super chat. Thank you for the supporting us, the channel. We haven't even started, and we're already at number 2. What is wrong with the counter, by the way? I don't understand this. Like, it's a simple thing. Maybe I should report it to YouTube. I don't know if other people are experiencing the same thing. So Sayed is saying they don't ask questions. They don't ask the question why IRGC set up military base next to the school and why they didn't close school during war. You know, it's actually very interesting that you say that a couple of days before the war started, we figured out that the war is about to start. And on my Persian show, I was basically, for multiple days, repeated this to everybody in Iran: don't send your kids to school. And obviously, this is even worse because this school was in an IRGC military base. So that was the worst school for you to send your children to. But any school, because we know that the Islamic Republic uses schools as human shields. We saw that. We saw images of that even before the war started, that they're using schools as human shields. And we were telling parents, make sure you don't send your children to school. And unfortunately, we ended up being right about that. And thank you, Sayed. Thank you so much for the support. And we're at 3. Oh my God. Well, thank you, guys. Guys, you guys are so kind, so generous. Like, honestly, this channel has so many amazing supporters. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for the super chat. I mean, we're only 9 minutes into the show. I mean, this is supposed to be like an hour and a half show, and we're already 30% with our goal. You guys, thank you. Jeff is saying the a-hole. Oh, yeah. You know, guys, this is just me, so we could swear here. The asshole is the other senator from Vermont. Oh, Bernie Sanders is the infamous one. Both are communists. Fuck him. Fuck him. I mean, you know what, guys? I know he knows that he doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, so you don't take responsibility for something so obvious. I know that he knows that you obviously don't take responsibility before the result of the investigations are come out. And also, when the results of the investigations come out, if it's basically shows that it was a mistake by United States, you just take responsibility only for bad intelligence or fog of war mistakes. It's collateral damage. You have to remember that no army on the planet gets to have zero collateral damage. Even the best army in the world would not be able to get zero collateral damage. And you only take responsibility for a mistake, but you should not be condemned. You should not be demonized. You should be congratulated for managing to keep the collateral damage as low as you did. These people keep wanting to attack United States Army for what happened in that school, but they miss the bigger picture. They don't look at the total numbers. If you zoom out and look at the total civilian death, United States has some of the least levels of collateral damage in war, and they should be congratulated for that. If you expect United States to have zero civilian casualties in any military operations, you're basically asking them not to get involved in any war ever, because that's impossible. That is impossible. And if that's the condition, then just get rid of your army. Just get rid of your army, because there is no way to do war. There is no way to do war if the condition is zero civilian casualties. Thank you, Jeff, for the super chat. And guys, we're already at four super chats today, close to halfway there. And then we have Dapper, once again, cursing the Safavid dynasty, justifiably so. Love that, by the way, this trend that we have going on. This is the fourth time he's cursing the Safavid dynasty. I like this thing that we're doing here, Dapper. And he's saying, curse upon the Safavids. Times 4. This is the fourth time that we have done that. And yes, I completely agree with that. I endorse that message. And Lior also keeping count for us because the ticker is not working. So we're 40% there. Thank you, Lior. Thank you. All right, let's continue.
Well, Dominic Waghorn, a reporter with Sky News in the UK, who's in Tehran, responded, "We have been there multiple times this week. It is categorically not on a missile base. And everyone we've asked, excuse me, says no military activity nearby." So what is...
Okay, look at this. We have been there multiple times this week. It is categorically not on a missile base. It's on an IRGC base. Look, guys, even when the school is on an IRGC base, and it's proven that it's on an IRGC base, these people have to move the goalposts. Well, it's not on a missile base. Guys, if it was on a missile base, they would be like, well, it's not on a nuclear base. It's not a nuclear facility base. I don't know. These people. Oh, guys, look at this. We got to 5 super chats already. And Leo also counting. Thank you, Leo. And BT, thank you so much for the support, saying curse upon those who abandon muscle t-shirts. Muscle tees. Okay. Well, I'll just... Okay. Thank you, BT. That's very sweet. All right. Yes. Oh, so Nara has a lot of information about it. Nara saying it has a name too. Yeah, the IRGC base, it has a name. It's called Tipe Asef, and all the locals know about it. So there you go. This is like public information. Oh my God, guys, we already got to 6 super chat. What's going on? Why you guys being so generous? Thank you. Like we're like only 14 minutes into the show and we're already more than halfway there. So Neom is saying, these idiots forgot that Islamic regime itself shut down a civilian passenger plane and then lied to the entire world for 3 straight days. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. The Ukrainian plane, where was the show for that? Where was the outrage for that? Where was this level of dedication? Where was this amount of coverage on that? That is a very good point. Thank you. I'm glad you brought it up. And that has been proven. Yeah. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Boogeyman saying, Armin, get your ass out of Canada and come to America, brother. Okay. Well, we'll see. Well, thank you, Boogeyman, for the super chat. And again, we are like we're 70% there. Wow, thank you for the support. Okay, and I will consider that. And thank you. And then we got another one by Afi, a super sticker. Thank you, Leo Canting, 8 out of 10. Holy hell, guys! Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. All right, let's continue.
And everyone we've asked, excuse me, says no military activity nearby. So what is the truth?
No
And what do we
military.
know for
Oh
sure?
my God! Everyone we asked, no military activity. It was an IRGC base. There was no military activity nearby because they got surprised by the American and Israeli attacks. There would have been military activity if they knew that that war is about to start. You goddamn fucking idiot. Obviously there was no military activity because the IRGC was caught off guard. What did they need to, like, what did he want the Americans to do? Like, card the IRGC bases? We were like, hey guys, you have zero military activity, and you guys need to have some activity for us to be able to shoot you. So get up your asses and be active so that we could aim at you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You want to target IRGC? You want to target IRGC exactly when they have zero military activity. That's when you want to take them out. Wow, yeah. Oh my God, guys, we hit a new record. Yeah, Amir saying we got to 10 out of 10 super chat in, and we're only 17 minutes into the show. Yeah, that's a new record. Look at this, 10 out of 10. Ding, 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 we got there. Okay. And the counter is still not counting it. Okay, let's see. Wow, you guys. Thank you, guys. You guys are getting more and more generous on every stream. Vidur is saying, Piers has neither dignity nor spine. I saw you supporting Ukraine, Armin. Thank you. Of course. There we go. Slava Ukrainian. Did I pronounce it? I think I got it right finally. Slava Ukrainian. Did I pronounce it right? I think because Ali gave me the trick. Ali said you have to pronounce it like Urumie. Urumie makes it Ukrainian. Am I pronouncing it right now? Let me know. Slava Ukrainian. And so he's saying, I never forget that plane incident. Yes, never forget that. Slava Ukrainian and Javid Shah. Slava Ukrainian and Javid Shah, back at you. Yeah, I think I'm finally getting this right. And it took Ali to give me the trick. Urumia is a lake in used to be a lake in Iran. It's now dried up now. And now, I think now that if I remember Urumia, I can pronounce it properly. Guys, tell me if I'm doing it right. I need to know if I'm doing it right. Oh my God, we got to 11 super chats. Wow. Thank you, Leo, for counting. So let me actually respond to them. Okay. And then we have Sam. Sam just saying 9 out of 10. Armin and Armin we trust. Well, thank you. I appreciate the trust. That gives me I need to be responsible with that trust. Oh yeah, Mythic Mix is saying your guess is as good as mine, Armin. I think I'm doing it right. I think it's Ukrainia, Slava Ukrainia. And thank you, Sam, for the super chat. And then the last super chat, we have BT saying, "What the fuck? Fix the counter." I know, right? I mean, we have a counter. It's Lior. Lior is our counter. And thank you for getting us to 11. Thank you. Somebody saying, "Is this legit?" Yes, we're legit. All right, let's continue.
That's the question for today's panel. We'll also tackle the oft-repeated claim that Iranian forces killed 40,000 civilians, one of the most frequent justifications cited for war. Joining me is Scott Horton, author of Provoked, Ryan Bodenheimer, he's the former Air Force combat pilot, also known as Max Afterburner, the Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist from the New York Times, Malachi Brown, and Christian Tribert, who from the New York Times Visual Investigations team. Well, welcome to all of you. I appreciate it very much. Let me start with you, Scott Horton. Welcome back so soon to Uncensored. I feel quite spoiled that we're getting you so soon. And thank you for your kind words about me on the Joe Rogan podcast, which I really enjoyed too. And we will do that one-on-one, by the way, that you were talking about not getting when you were talking to Joe. So we'll come to that another time. But Scott, this whole strike on this school, obviously utterly devastating in terms of loss of life, particularly young children. The Sky News report from their guy on the ground makes it crystal clear that this was not part of any IRGC compound as the early.
It was an IRGC compound. It was not a missile compound. What the fuck are you talking about?
Spin wanted us to believe, which begs the question, they must know who has fired this Tomahawk missile. They don't just get fired randomly.
Wait, guys, he's lying. He's obviously lying. What the fuck? That school was in an IRGC compound. It was. What the fuck? That was. He doesn't even know what the claim is. People are saying it wasn't a missile compound, but it was an IRGC compound.
Part of any IRGC.
What if this is an absolute obvious lie?
Obviously, utterly devastating in terms of loss of life, particularly young children. The Sky News report from their guy on the ground makes it crystal clear that this was not part of any IRGC compound, as the early spin wanted us to believe, which begs the question, they must know who has fired this Tomahawk missile. They don't just get fired randomly. Why is there such a concerted effort not to admit what happened?
There is an investigation, you fucking fuck! Obviously, you have to wait for the results of the investigation. These things take time. They have always taken time. They have always taken time.
Well, I'm sure it was a targeting mistake. And yes, they should have just apologized immediately and said, well, we didn't mean for that to happen. Now, my best understanding, and you have the New York Times reporters right here whose work I'm referring to here, they seem to show that this used to be part of the same compound, but then they just built a wall and separated it. And they showed where the strikes on all the different buildings, virtually all of the different buildings in that compound, looked just the same as this one. And then it was the Washington Post that published video of a Tomahawk incoming that hit another one of the buildings just adjacent to the school there. So apparently this, I believe the Times reported this used to be part of an IRGC base. It was essentially on one big piece of property, but they had built a wall separating it back years ago.
So look at this, guys. This school, because there's a wall between the school and the rest of the compound, they're saying the school is not part of the compound. So two things is clear here. First of all, no, like the Americans, if this was like a mistake by the Americans, there is no update regarding their intelligence that this school was not part of a compound, that this school was not being used as an IRGC base, as the rest of that there is no information. They didn't have updated intelligence to show that this building that is still part of an IRGC base is now being used as a school. Obviously, that was not in their intelligence. If it was, they wouldn't be shooting. The Americans wouldn't be bombing a school. The Americans would never, they would never purposefully target a school. Obviously, anybody who thinks otherwise is fucking retarded. Anybody who suggests the Americans were like, oh, here's a school, let's bomb a fucking school, and they did that on purpose, you could basically, these people, those types of people are too far gone. You know, fuck them. They're completely beyond hope. You could completely ignore that. They're not worth talking to, right? But this is not a meaningful distinction. Like, if within an IRGC base, one of the buildings is used as a school, is it part of the base or not part of the base? Like, that's just semantics. I consider it to be part of the base because the school is for the IRGC people, is for the kids of the IRGC people, right? One. Two, who gives a shit? The intelligence that the Americans had suggests that this was part of the base and it was being used for military purposes. And if they bombed it, that means that they made a mistake and it wasn't on purpose. That's all that you care. Like, oh, because there's a wall now, it's not part of the base. Either it used to be part of the base or it is part of the base. It's a building that is part of the IRGC compound, and they're now using that. First of all, what the fuck are you doing? Turning a building in an IRGC base that could easily be mistaken for a military compound to a school. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, do you not care about the lives of your children? Obviously, you don't. Why am I even asking that? You use them as shields. Also, we got like, okay, we got way more super chats and memberships. Fabrizio just became a member. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a member. And then what's the count now? Wow, we're way above 10 now. Look at this. I think we're at 13. And Dapper saying Piers looks like the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. He does. That's not even an insult. He does. That is so on point. Here, he does look exactly like her. Let me just get to that here. You're so correct about this. Here, let's investigate, guys. Okay. Yes. Okay, actually, they don't look the same. They're basically the same person. I genuinely think that no, not genuinely, but I do think there might be the same person. Yes, okay. I see it now, right? I do see it. Great point. Very great point. Thank you so much, Dapper, for the super chat. Oh, the counter went from 0 to 12. I think it's a delayed counter now. But it's wrong because we're at 14 now. And thank you, Dapper, for the super chat. Ginga is saying, what happened to Atheist Republic? I'm not updated. Okay, so because we're focusing on all things politics related, we renamed the channel to Liberty Politics, right? So we're basically fighting for liberty and against all of the enemies of liberty globally. And we consider the greatest enemies of liberty to be Islam, the woke left, the woke right, and communism. And by woke right, we mean people like Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, right? And we consider the greatest defenders of liberty worldwide to be the United States, Israel, Ukraine, the Iranian people, and Taiwan. 5, okay? What do you guys think? Those are the 5 defenders of liberty, the greatest defenders of liberty. So that's why we renamed the channel to better show what we're fighting for here at Liberty Politics. And thank you for the super chat. But it's the same me with the same views. And then we have Amir. Amir, thank you so much for the super chat saying, and on. Piers looks like Mrs. Does she? Doubtfire? How do you pronounce that? No, I think, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. A little bit. But mostly like the pigeon lady from Home Alone. And thank you for the super chat. All right, let's continue now. We're at 14 super chats, guys. Oh, hang on. Okay, now I get it. Hang on. Okay, you have to put like a star A and D. They like to, if you understand, like, yeah, like no. So A and G, yeah, like that. Okay, now I see. Okay, hang on. Okay, now I see what you wanted to say. Okay, let's continue.
But the thing of it is from the Iranian people's point of view, it seems like we should at least take into account here that regardless of whether it was a mistake or not, just how absolutely horrific this was. And in all.
Nara, are you hearing this? He's speaking on behalf of the Iranian people. He thinks that he speaks. First of all, fuck you. What you're repeating is regime propaganda. Don't you fucking dare act like you're the voice of the Iranian people. fuck this person. What is his name? You're repeating regime propaganda and saying what the Iranian people want. That is not at all what the Iranian people want. The Iranian people say fuck you to the selective outrage over Minab compared to all the fuckers who are ignoring what the regime, the crimes that the regime has committed upon the Iranian people is astronomically higher than the collateral damage by the Israeli and American military operations. And anybody who wants to use the collateral damage of the military operation that has helped the Iranian people weaken the Islamic Republic more than anything else, anybody that keeps using that as a way to distract from the facts that, one, the Iranian people support the military operations of United States and Israel and wanted them to continue, and they see it as the greatest instrument to topple the regime, to help the Iranian people topple the regime. That's one. And number two, the Minab incident is being used by these pieces of shit to take away attention to the suffering of the Iranian people by the regime itself for the past 47 fucking years. Every fucking year we have tens of thousands, actually hundreds of thousands of Iranians killed. And I'm not exaggerating. If you look at the policy of the regime when it comes to pollution and roads and cars and the healthcare, every fucking year, hundreds of thousands of Iranians are killed by the Islamic regime. And you're focusing on Minab to try to bring attention away from that. The Iranian people, the only thing they have to say to you is curse be upon you. That's genuinely what they say. Lanat beto. Their response to you is fuck you. Don't you fucking dare act like you're speaking on behalf of the Iranian people. The only people you're speaking on behalf of is the Islamic regime, using Minab as a distraction tactic, using the lives of these children as a way to distract from the main crimes of the regime against their own people. This is so disingenuous. It's so obvious how disingenuous it is. Constantly talking about 200 people where the regime is killing us now every fucking day. Every fucking day. How dare you? How dare you act like this is what the Iranian this is what the Iranian people want? How do you know? How do you know? You don't speak for them. You speak for the regime. Fuck this motherfucker. Look at this.
View. It seems like we should at least take into account here that regardless of whether it was a mistake or not, just how absolutely horrific this was. And in all the casualties of all the wars, the numbers, get, taken in different contexts and scenarios or whatever. But I believe it was the leftist media critic Adam Johnson who first pointed out that the casualty count here is essentially equivalent to the Oklahoma City bombing. Only if that entire federal building had been the daycare center, 167 killed, all little girls. And this is the kind of
42,000, at least 42,000 Iranians were killed in 10 hours. 10 fucking hours. At least. This evil, wiping out this evil requires military operation. Military operation will have collateral damage. Every military operation at this scale will have collateral damage. We Iranian people understand that. We Iranian people understand that. Go to Iran and ask the Iranian people after what happened in Minab if they want the Americans and Israelis to continue. The vast majority of the Iranians will tell you yes. The vast majority of the Iranians will tell you yes. In fact, if there's any anger towards the Americans, is why they stopped. Is why they stopped. That's the only anger that the vast majority of the Iranian people right now are feeling towards the Americans. Some of them, not all of them.
It's one.
Some of them, when I say some of them, here, let me be more clear, right? The vast majority of the Iranian people want the military operations by United States and Israel to continue. Vast majority of them. Undeniable. What is more of a dispute and disagreement is the frustration. Some Iranians are feeling frustration for why the Americans stopped. But some other Iranians say that we understand. On that, there is dispute. But on the fact that we need the military operations to be able to topple the regime, on that, there's mostly unity. Only the pro-regime people don't fucking support that. And fuck them. Let me know if that makes sense to you guys.
One of the things that goes to show why we should not be starting aggressive wars in the first place is because mistakes like this can happen. And
are you kidding me? We shouldn't be. So after the Islamic regime killed more than 42,000, and again, they continue to kill. They continue to kill. Guys, the Islamic regime kills hundreds of thousands of Iranians every single fucking year. And after that, you say that we shouldn't have started this military operation because of 200 people? Because just under 200 people died? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, wow, Nara, thank you so much for the super chat. Wow, that's very generous, Nara. That's very sweet. Thank you. Nara is saying, my friend finally was able to reach out to me. Oh my God, your friend in Iran? My friend finally was able to reach out to me since day one of the war. Oh my God. She paid 1 million 2 months for 1 gig of internet. Holy shit. And she used some of it to curse out the officials that did the ceasefire. There you go, guys. There you go. She said they must finish the job or leave them in misery. This is, if there's any anger among Iranians towards America, is not because of Minab, is not because of them starting the war against the Islamic regime. In fact, they appreciated that more than anything. Many Iranian people say the best day of their life was the day that Khamenei was killed. If there is any anger, is why did they stop? Many Iranian people don't understand the point of the ceasefire. That's the anger. That's the voice. That's the actual voice of the Iranian people, not what this fucker over here is saying. And Nara, thank you so much for the very generous super chat. That's very kind. I don't know how to thank you. I'll save it for our cafe. Okay. Unbelievable.
Become an absolute stain on this country.
Okay, Maliki Brown, welcome to Uncensored. What do we know for a fact about this, do you think?
What we know for a fact is that, yes, multiple buildings in that area were targeted. And yes, the school building is adjacent to the IRGC facility. According to experts that I've since spoken to since our early reports, it's not uncommon for these IRGC bases, much like American bases, to have schools for the children of the serving members of the IRGC. This particular school was opened up to the public a few years ago, cordoned off from the site, public entrances opened. Other parts of the site also repurposed for public use as a medical.
Look at this, guys. Wait, what the fuck? I don't even see a wall. They say they walled it off separate from the IRGC compound. So they say they opened the school to other people from IRGC as well to use the school. Okay, fucking great. You're putting other children, people who are not even IRGC, you're putting their children at risk as well. But they did look at this. Where's the wall? Okay, this is from 2013. Was there a new updated version that they walled it off? Because here's the IRGC compound. This is the compound. That's the school. How the fuck am I supposed to tell that this is the school?
Clinic and a cultural center there as well.
Oh, okay. This is the wall. They're saying permanent wall constructed between 2013 and 2016. Okay, so that was 2013. This is 2016. So they say there was a wall built here. Okay.
And witnesses are not witnesses.
So this wall the only indication that this is a school now? Yeah, I mean, I don't think that building a wall necessarily means that this is not IRGC anymore. Looking from the top, right?
But sources that we've spoken to say that, yeah, there weren't weapons stored there, that it was more of a logistics hub than, you know, a base.
Oh, so wait a minute.
That was used to store cruise missiles. But sources that we've spoken to say that, yeah, there weren't weapons stored there, that it was more of a logistics hub than, you know, a base that was used to store cruise missiles. Why would you store explosives right beside the school that your kids are going to? We know it was hit.
I mean, it's not like they fucking care.
In that early salvo.
So you know what I guess? I guess that basically based on the most updated intelligence information that the United States had, that building was part of the compound and they stored, you know, either missile components there or explosives or whatever. That was the most updated information that the United States had. And they targeted because they went with their most updated information. It's the fog of war, acting based on intelligence that is not accurate. Sometimes happens all the time in war, right? I mean, the Americans have, throughout the history of war by Americans have killed so many American soldiers. Friendly fire. So if Americans have killed American soldiers, you could expect them to also kill civilians by mistake here and there. But if you look at their record, they do better than other armies. Their record is not zero, obviously, and it can never be zero, but it's better than other armies. And that's what people should be focusing on. And they should also be focusing on the fact that United States will obviously never target children or civilians. Oh, Roman Viking is asking us a philosophical question. What is an individual? When does it start? When does it end? Are chimpanzees individuals? I think individuals are mostly referred to humans. Yeah, I think an individual is a human with an identity, with a the self-awareness required to have an identity. And thank you for the super chat.
On the first day of the war, the start of the working week, when school was in session, teachers had called parents to collect their kids once the war started. But by the time that most parents got there, the school building had been hit, devastating consequences. There was a second wave of attacks a couple of hours later on that same area and facility. There have been some reports, we haven't been able to confirm them, that the school was hit twice, including the Sky News report with an eyewitness who has survived the attack. But that's what we know so far. And then on the casualties, the original casualties were put at 175. The Iranian state has since revised that down to about 156. And Christian here, my colleague, and others have been able to corroborate that number.
Right. Well, let's bring Christian in here.
Where is it? Why are you guys not putting the same amount of investigation into the daily executions by the Islamic regime. I don't understand why do we get the same level of attention on that.
Welcome to you to Uncensored. Obviously, there's a lot of investigation that's been going on into this, and I guess look, in terms of who fired it, there's one of three potential options. I guess the Americans, the Israelis, or was it some rogue missile that Iran had acquired, which they misfired, which seems the least likely of the three scenarios. But do we know for a fact that it was a US Tomahawk missile?
Yes, we do. I mean, Maliki, and I think others on the panel already referenced it as well. But like, indeed, you're mentioning the three actors here. But the fact that we actually have footage of a projectile coming in at that same compound.
Wait, guys, actually, CENTCOM chief is saying the school was on an active missile site, so it was a missile base, according to CENTCOM. So originally, at the beginning, when they were saying like, "Oh, we went there and there's no missiles," well, I mean, I trust CENTCOM more than some random guy in Iran who's probably pro IRGC. The military relied on state data. The building used to be part of the base, and US failed to update its intelligence to reflect that it had been converted into a civilian school. Yeah, that's probably the most likely scenario that would happen. The most important thing is the lack of intent. There was no intent. There was no intent to kill children. That's the most important thing that we need to focus on.
Makes it unmistakable that this is a U.S. attack, because what we're seeing in that video is a U.S. Tomahawk missile. And Trump went as far as to saying like Iran may have Tomahawk missiles, but there's evidence to back that up. So I don't think it's really worth going into that claim right now. I think by now he has also said like he's willing to live with the with the fact if it happens to be the U.S. right. That's what he said in response to questions of the media about this. But coming back to the casualties, like we were able to establish 156. At least 156 people have died, 120 of them being students at the school, 73 boys, 47 girls, teaching staff as well. I think also 7 parents that we were able to identify that already got into the school, as Maliki was referring to, school driver, and so on. So absolutely devastating attack. But what is also very interesting is that it's only one of several attacks that opening day of the war where the US actually hit civilian sites.
But it's very reminiscent to me about the debate that was going on in Gaza, where
hit civilian sites. Many of the civilian sites were being used by IRGC. And are you talking, for example, if you kill IRGC people at their home, are you saying like, oh, they're killing civilian sites? They're targeting civilian sites? It's not a civilian site. If there's a terrorist there, it's not a civilian site anymore.
Constant refrain from the IDF, for example, was when a number of civilians had been killed, was always they were targeting a Hamas compound, a Hamas school or hospital or whatever it was, where Hamas were based, using it as a base. They were using civilians as some kind of, shield and so on. Are we in the same kind of realm here, where the argument may be, and they say they're going to conclude the investigation soon, it's ridiculous, it's taken 80 days. But if they come back and simply say, look, we were targeting the base and this missile strayed into the neighboring school here, it was a genuine mistake. Is that a plausible scenario here? Is that what we're really looking at, do you think?
I think that what we're looking at is outdated targeting is the most likely scenario. We can't preempt what the investigation is going to finally show. By the way, it's 3 months on, and in any previous incident, they've come out much sooner than that and admitted liability. So what it looks like, and according to sources that we've spoken to and written about, it looks like it was outdated targeting information that was used and dusted off. And we don't know if that's because of the speed at which targets were being chosen and prepared.
It was just outdated intelligence properly. Probably that's what it was. Out they didn't. They had the intelligence. There was no update anywhere that this building was turned into a school.
Or what? Because there was, this was in the midst of, a flurry of targets on targeting military sites and government officials in the opening hours. But Piers, you would think that with weeks or months to prepare for this, that due diligence would have been done to ensure that this school, which had a website, an active website, which was clearly separated from the base, is not dissimilar to schools at other IRGC bases along the coast, would have been flagged and, had proper work been done, put on perhaps a no strike list, which is an obligation of militaries to maintain. So there's no evidence that this compound or indeed the school was used for military purposes, was storing weapons or anything like that. It just looks like it was lazy targeting with devastating consequences.
So before I go to Ryan, just to conclude on this part of it, if it is how you believe it to be, would that constitute potentially a war crime or not?
No,
It's
a war crime. Collateral damages is obviously not a war crime, you fucking idiot. What kind of a stupid question is that? Like, for this to be a war crime, you have to assume the Americans were like, oh, let's go kill some kids. What the fuck are you talking about? How could this be a war crime?
It's the obligation of militaries to mitigate civilian harm. If they're
It's not the obligation. It's the obligation to bring the collateral damage to a minimum, not to zero. It's impossible to bring it down to zero. Why don't people understand that? As long as you could show that you did everything you possibly can from reasonably as much as you can, because everybody could just basically spend so much money on reducing collateral damage to a zero that the cost of being careful, like the cost of everything associated with the risk management, ends up being more than the fucking weapons that more than even the weapons that you're using, right? And that's obviously unreasonable. If an army does reasonably enough work to try to reduce civilian casualties, that is all you can expect. And you can tell, given how you can tell that the United States Army has already done that, given the low ratio, the low civilian casualty to combatant ratio that the Americans and Israelis always achieve. That by itself just demonstrates that the Americans have gone above and beyond trying to reduce civilian casualties.
there are repeated
beyond any other army
patterns.
Let me know if that makes sense to you guys, by the way, because I think it just comes down to that. Instead of like going like, oh, what happened here? What happened here? What happened here? The best way to judge whether the Americans are acting morally or not is just to zoom out, look at the numbers, look at the number of civilians who died during a military operation, which is obviously always a number above zero, and just compare it to the type of military operation you're doing and the number of targets that you have had, and then just come up with the agreement, with the conclusion that, okay, this was very fucking low compared to any other military operation that has ever been done, especially in cities, when your targets are in urban areas.
And under international humanitarian law, it could be constituted a war crime. As Chris said, these aren't the only civilians or children that were killed in the opening hours of that war by the US using weapons that we can identify as only US weapons. But it depends on whether this is a repeated pattern of recklessness.
Okay.
Which is not. The fact that it's not repeated shows that it was just a mistake. Amir, thank you so much for the membership gifts. Guys, look at this. 5 more people in our chat are now members because Amir decided to bless you guys with membership gifts. Thank you so much, Amir. Always so supportive. Always so supportive. Thank you. Look at this. Amir, look at this beautiful comment saying, Amir, I'm truly honored to receive a gift membership, but especially coming from you. Thank you, sir. I'm Israel Chai. Aww. I'm Israel Chai and Slava Ukrainia. By the way, am I Rusio? Am I saying it correctly? Slava Ukrainia.
Bring in Ryan Bodenheimer. Welcome back to Uncensored, Brian. You're a former Air Force combat pilot, so you're a perfect person to ask here. When you were engaged in operations, or you spoke to others who were, put yourself into the pilot cockpit here of whichever plane fired this missile. How confident would you be before unloading and firing a missile on an area like this that the targeting was precise enough to avoid what we've seen happen here?
Yeah, great question, Piers. I'm glad we're having this discussion, and hello to you and hello to the panel. This is really important that we talk about this. Well, for myself, in an F-15E cockpit, I've been in situations in combat where we've been asked to drop weapons, and we're the tip of the spear. We can see what's going on. And there's a case that I can recall where we were asked to strike.
Former Air Force combatant. Okay.
Insurgents in Afghanistan, and they would surround themselves with children. So that was the tactic that they would use. They would bring children around them. And so in that exact scenario, we were cleared hot to strike, and I delayed. I didn't strike with the kids around them, but that's a tactic that we saw throughout the entire campaign in Iraq and Afghanistan. And we see it in Iran as well, where even when there was the potential for the power plants and bridges to be struck, and Iran called for women and children to go to these locations, essentially doing the same terrorist playbook that we saw in Afghanistan to try to protect their infrastructure with children. So this is a playbook that you see out of terrorists, dual use, surrounding themselves with children because they know that will hold fire, which is exactly what I did in that situation. And so putting myself in the shoes of that Tomahawk missile operator launching from a submarine, they're not going to purposefully strike something that has kids in it. And you, as the operator, you have that determination, that final determination. If you know that there's children or civilians in it, you have the obligation to not strike, which is why this, to me, is definitely not a purposeful strike. I think the discussion on the panel of this being some sort of targeting error, the Defense Intelligence Agency maybe not having the latest up-to-date information, which is not okay. That's something that we need to fix and update.
When you have a Tomahawk fired from a submarine.
Yep, that's a perfect response. Okay. But I think Piers is hunting for a way to blame the United States. That was perfect. That was perfect.
An update.
When you have a
I know that's a Max Afterburner.
Tomahawk fired from a submarine, is the moment called by a pilot in a plane? I mean, how does it work in reality in combat?
They're likely using some sort of information previously. They are some sort of information previously from a targeting package. And this was previously a Iranian cruise missile base. We know that. But it was years ago that they say that they separated the school from the actual military operation. But we know the IRGC rotates. They rotate in and out of different locations. They have underground facilities. So there's other things that they could do to have swapped this back and forth a couple times. But I agree with the panel that we have to have the latest breaking information in a conflict. And in the fog of war, terrible things can happen. So I don't think anybody's justifying this. I mean, this is a true tragedy that those kids died. But if you look at what Iran's doing, they're using it as a propaganda win. I mean, where's the discussion of the thousands of people that were killed over the last few months? They don't.
Yes. Guys, this is how it's done. You don't dismiss the importance of these children dying. Okay? You have to first acknowledge it as an absolute tragedy. Okay, then you bring attention to the fact that this is being used as a propaganda by the regime to distract from what they do to the Iranian people, and also, by the way, Piers Morgan is participating in that propaganda by the regime, right? But that was a perfect response. So, but be careful not to dismiss the tragedy that the death of these children are. You have to acknowledge it before you go and show how the regime is using this as a propaganda to cover its own crimes. Yeah, this is a smart man. Yeah, exactly.
That those kids died. But if you look at what Iran's doing, they're using it as a propaganda win. I mean, where's the discussion of the thousands of people that were killed over the last few months?
Because guys, if you come out and say you're to try to, I know some people have good intentions and they want to defend the Iranian people against the regime, and then they come out and say like, oh, it didn't happen, or who cares? Okay, but when you do that, then the regime and pro-regime people will be able to use that more as a way to discredit all of the Iranians who are against the regime, or all the people who are fighting against the regime. So be careful not to fall for that trap.
And a win. I mean, where's the discussion of the thousands of people that were killed over the last few months? They don't want to talk about that. They want to say, hey, look at this, which again is a tragic incident. We can't overlook it. But they are fighting a propaganda war where the only situation in that school strike is that the U.S. loses.
Well,
right? There's no propaganda win there.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the obviously the killing of all the protesters in general, because last time Scott was on recently, he was extremely skeptical about these claims that up to 40,000 protesters were killed. And I will come back to Scott in a second. But maybe just ask you, Maliki.
Wait, we got a super chat. Thank you, Jennifer, for the super chat. I think we're at 18 now. We're almost double our target. Oh, no, we're at 17. We're at 17 super chats today, which is double our target of 10. Jennifer saying, Armin, I wish I could save your laughter in a jar. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's the sweetest thing I heard all day. Thank you so much. Saying it's so contagious and makes me smile every time I hear it. Oh, thanks for all you do. Love from US. Thank you. Oh my God. Wow. What a wholesome comment. Thank you. Oh, I don't know what to say. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's over just saying, whoa, that's a unique compliment. Yeah, that was very unique. I enjoyed that. Thank you.
About that, from the New York Times investigative perspective, do we know how many people, or even a vague idea of how many of those protesters were killed in January?
I think it's really challenging. Let me just preface it with that, because there was a communications blackout. A lot of protests were happening at night. Really, we were relying on video evidence that was being collated and managed to get out through Starlinks onto social platforms and aggregating and collecting that. So to answer your question, we can't truly know yet. It's likely and feasible that it's in the thousands of people, according to what we've seen and we've been able to collate, and also what has been collected by 3 Iranian human rights groups who have a record of getting numbers like this fairly accurate. 2 of them put it in around 3,000 to 3,500 people, one at about 6,500 people. And it's worth saying that, the Iranian authorities themselves admit that about 3,100 people were killed, and they usually.
Okay, what the fuck? The number they, what are you not talking about? The leaked data from the regime instead of what they admit. What is this numbers? I have much better information than this guy. Aren't these supposed to be experts?
Lowball those numbers, but what we could see in the footage is,
yeah, look at this. Like BT is saying 3,000. Are you fucking crazy? Yeah, he's reporting the numbers by the regime. I mean, I think he might be saying at least, but why would you even go to that? Obviously, that's not a reliable source of information. Are fucking insane. Oh, look at this. Rusio is a gifted 1 membership to somebody in the chat. Thank you so much for the gifting membership to people. So one more person is now a member. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. I think I am. But yeah, thank you for that. Thank you so much for the membership. Look at this. And Texas is awesome. Always thanking people who are giving super chats or membership gifts in the chat. Thank you for looking after our community, Texas. Such a good mod.
extensive use of live
Rusu. Oh, and also Casey with the super chat saying a Palestinian accused Hamas of war crimes today. Oh, okay. I mean, I have so-called Palestinian friends that accuse Hamas of war crimes all the time, and also I have so-called Palestinian friends. Is it maybe this is a bigger deal, like somebody important, somebody with a big following? But I have so-called Palestinian friends. I mean, I don't, because Palestinian is not a thing, but so-called Palestinian friends that are from Gaza and Judea and Samaria that call themselves Zionist, which is, I love them for that. They say I'm proud Zionist, and I was born in so-called Palestine. Oh, yesterday at the ICC, I see. Okay, so this is a big deal. Okay, now I see why this is a big deal. Okay, thank you guys. I'll look into it.
Being used on protesters. We documented it in 19 cities in Iran and 6 suburbs of Tehran. And we saw people being shot in the head, legs, bodies, torsos being carried away. It was widespread. And we also have reported, my colleague Farnaz Pazahai.
Guys, let me actually just read this to you instead of this guy. So we have IRGC intelligence reports, and these are like the lower end based on what's been confirmed, internal data from the Islamic Republic itself, right? So in late January and these are not anything they admit to. In late January 2026, the independent outlet Iran International reviewed documents provided by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, intelligence organization, to Iran's Supreme National Security Council. These highly classified reports dated January 22 and 24 listed the death toll to over 36,500 civilians killed across 400 cities. So guys, by January 24, internal data by IRGC itself got to 36,000. Again, this is not all of them, but IRGC's leaked data itself shows at least 36,000. At least. So I don't know where this guy is talking about the 3,000 number when we have this. And we also have a separate report to the Iranian Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Committee on January 21st, listed the number of killed at a minimum of 27,000. 27,500. So these are the numbers I have. I don't know why this guy, instead of pointing these out, is pointing out the number. And again, these are what they had confirmed by January 21st by the regime itself. And this guy is only quoting the numbers that they gave out to the public. And then we also have independent journalists have relied heavily on local healthcare workers to figure out the true scale of the killings. We have, like, for example, hospital registries, and we basically Time and The Guardian corroborated massive casualty numbers by citing an Iranian doctors network and local health officials. According to these networks, analyzing civilian hospital registries for January 8th and January 9th alone yielded over 30,300 deaths. So this is separate from the two different information that the Iran International had from leaked data from the regime. This was done by Time and The Guardian by their work with the healthcare workers on the ground. So yeah, that was that. And then we also had the independent human rights organization do some investigation. So I don't trust human rights activists. I don't trust the human rights activists. I'm just going to go with the Guardian, Time, and Iran International. So those numbers show minimum, at least minimum, and these are the most conservative numbers that you could get, to 36,000. Oh my God, guys. Oh, look at this. We got to, thank you for the super chat. 21 out of 10 super chats already. Well, oh my God, look at, we got 3 more super chats. Holy hell. Nima saying the issue with Scott Horton is his Israel derangement syndrome. Which one is that? Is that this guy? Yeah, I think I know he's anti-Israeli. Just like Anna Kasparian and Chunky Yogurt, they're on the wrong side of history. Scott Horton. Yeah, I think that's Scott. Yeah, okay, that guy. Yeah, this guy has the shittiest takes. I've seen him, and he's not just anti-Israeli, he's also anti-West. He's also anti-West in general. And then, thank you, Nima. Thank you for the super chat. And then we have Agent Anderson saying, when do we switch to in real life? I got a notification. What? When do we switch over to... What is that? I don't understand that. Somebody translate. I don't have a co-host to translate this to me. Oh, didn't know it lets you have 2 live at once. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, Iran Revolution Live. Okay, okay. When do we switch to that? We will be doing that in about 50 minutes. Iran Revolution Live. Okay, Iran Revolution Live. Oh, that's the abbreviation for Iran Revolution Live. Okay, IRL usually stands for in real life. That's why I read it wrong. So thank you. I'm like, wait, do you want to? I was like, wait, do you want to meet me in person? like we're gonna. All right, like in real life, like you guys want to like have a meeting? Like you have to wait for Nara and I haven't made our cafe yet. Okay, this is gonna take a while for us to meet in real life. Okay, but yes, Iran Revolution Live is going to start in 50 minutes, and in real life we will meet in real life when Nare and I make Liberty Cafe. We're planning on building a Liberty Cafe together, and then once it's built, we will all gather around and meet with each other there, and we will have our show there. Someone's saying, don't feel bad, Armin. I don't feel bad. Why should I feel bad? Yes, the cafe is gonna slap. Yeah, we soon have to organize a Liberty Politics conference. That would be great. That's my dream. Having events, having local gatherings. One day. And then BT with another super chat saying 80 million. Wait, 80 million. What is that? How do you pronounce it? Hold on. Help me. Give me a second. What is this word? I don't know. Doctors in Gaza, they won't cross check. Wait, is that 18 million pregnant? Do you mean pregnant? Okay. I thought I was like learning a new word. 18 million pregnant. Okay, is that pregnant? Okay. Oh. Pregnant doctors in Gaza, they won't cross-check. 40,000 in Iran, and they have questions. Yeah. Okay, now I get it. Okay, that's pregnant. I was like, this is a new word that I need to learn what I pronounce it. It's not. Okay. They can't say, they can't say you're doing pregnant because they can't say P. Pregnant. Okay, 80 million pregnant doctors in Gaza. They won't cross-check, and 40,000 in Iran, and they have questions. Okay, now I get it. Okay. Okay, why do you do this to me, BT? Why do you do this to me? Okay, don't make it more complicated. I'm trying here. Okay. Right.
Reported along with us that the order came from the top to quash the protests, and the order was given to security forces to use lethal force.
And Christian, again, before I come to Scott on this, you work in the New York Times visual investigations team. There's so much misinformation, AI fakes and so on, swirling around now about almost everything. How hard is it for you to do your job and actually get to the truth? Because, I had a very interesting chat with Scott a couple of weeks ago about this. And, and from what Malachi's just said, there's no clear evidence that tens of thousands were killed. I don't know whether they were or not. Scott's very much of the view that it's at the lower end of the toll, and that if it was...
Wait, what did you say?
Tens of thousands. And from what Malachi's just said, there's no clear evidence that tens of thousands were killed.
What? I was distracted by the chat. Did you guys fucking hear that?
There's no about this. And, and from what Malachi's just said, there's no clear evidence that tens of thousands were killed.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? Are you fucking kidding me? You guys didn't wait for an investigation with the Minab school, and you're all convinced, even though I genuinely think that, yes, maybe the children died in the school, because more likely. So your standard for the Minab school is like, this has obviously happened without the investigation being complete. And even though we have so much evidence from so many independent sources, verifying that we have tens of thousands of Iranians being slaughtered by the regime, you're saying there is no clear evidence? Are you fucking kidding me? You immediately believe the Minab school incident with less evidence. Different investigative journalists have came to the conclusion that tens of thousands of Iranians have been massacred by the regime, and you don't believe that? You're a vile, disgusting piece of shit, Piers. Fuck you. We will not forget this. This will never be forgotten. This will never be forgotten. You will never be... This is really bad. This is really fucking bad. I just read to you. It took me 5 minutes to figure out that different sources investigated this, and they all came to the conclusion that tens of thousands of Iranians have been killed by the regime. And he says there's no clear evidence. Fuck this motherfucker. Do you guys see the bias? Do you guys see the bias when the United States is accused of killing 107? Their standards for evidence just drops, and they immediately believe it, and they're ready to accuse and condemn the United States. But when it comes to the Islamic Republic killing tens of thousands of Iranians in just a few hours, all of a sudden, something that has been investigated, they deny it. Like, it takes me, guys, he has a research team that cost tens of thousands of dollars. He has a lot of money to pay for a research team. I'm just by myself, just checking these things, just by myself here. And in 5 minutes, I managed to figure out this is on purpose. This must be on purpose. because it took me 5 minutes to figure out that there were multiple different investigations, independent from each other, that came to the conclusion that tens of thousands of Iranians were killed in just those 2 days. This is unforgivable. This is unforgivable. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. This is like, guys, now I know what it feels like to be a Jew. For so many years, people denying the Holocaust. I'm getting a taste of what it feels like when they massacred our people and people deny that it happened. This is a like, it's really hard to watch people deny the darkest chapter of the history of your people when you witness it happen. It breaks my heart. But we went through so much. We went through like they, and these people just come and say, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, I really don't know what to say. This is so sad. It's like we don't exist. It's like it doesn't matter. The only Iranian people who matter are the ones that could help these fuckers' narrative against the West and against Israel. If it hurts the narrative, then we don't matter. We don't matter. The lives of Iranian people taken away. If that story goes against their anti-Israeli and anti-West narrative, then those lives don't matter. We're not going to let these people make us forget what happened. Yeah, exactly. Now they're saying, Armin, we are political tokens for them. 2 people were killed by ICE and there were national protests. Now they're discussing 3,000 versus 40,000. Who gives a shit? Even 10 is horrible. Exactly. 100%. That's a great point, Nara. Unbelievable. This is so disgusting. I need to go to you guys because I don't know. I can't take this fucking shit anymore right now. Maybe I'll continue this next time, but right now Kimberly saying, love you, gotta go back to work. Okay. See you soon, hopefully. Love you back. These idiots mean nothing, okay? Their souls are already dead. Yeah, Texas saying Piers Morgan is a terrorist sympathizer using the pain of Iranians to make money. Yeah, Ray saying, I feel you, man. Yeah, it's disgusting. It is. Let me see which the super. Thank you, Ida. Ida at BT saying you're wrong. It's 90 million pregnant virgins who are 70 years old and carrying triplets. Okay. Yes. Okay. 80, we're going to 80 million pregnant doctors. No, okay, let's actually do this right. 90 million pregnant virgin doctors. We have to go with what BT said. The doctors, journalist doctors. So 90 million pregnant journalist doctor virgins who are 70 years old and caring for triplets. That's what happened. Okay. That's what happened in Gaza. And thank you, Ida. They're all with the breasts. Exactly. Okay, now they're all with the breasts. Okay. And now BT is putting what she means in parentheses because it's sometimes I don't get the joke. Sorry guys, I'm bad at getting the joke. Thank you for the help, BT. So I'm slow with jokes. Okay, all right. Oh, see, it's not just me saying I don't get it. Okay, but it's just a comment on the exaggeration with the numbers and numbers of casualties in Gaza and the type of people who are getting killed in Gaza, and also the fact that you don't have the sound "p" in Arabic, right? I still like to call Palestine like the terrorist movement Palestine because I like to call it the name that they cannot pronounce or at least cannot spell. Okay, Texas is going to make it her mission to get Piers out of the U.S. Good luck with that, or at least his permanent residentship. Yeah, I mean, I'm better, but I'm not being sarcastic. I'm genuinely saying, hopefully, good luck, like genuinely good luck with that. Oh, we got another super chat by Jeff saying Piers is talking like a Nazi. Exactly, guys. I hope they look back at these moments, at these denial of things that were so readily of events that had. We have the information right now, guys. When this becomes undeniable, these motherfuckers are going to come out and say, well, back then we didn't have the evidence, now we do. So that they're going to try to justify it. But I showed you that we have the evidence now. I showed you that we have the evidence now that this is in the tens of thousands. So we're going to come back and visit these people, and we're going to treat them exactly like the Holocaust deniers, exactly the way that we treat Holocaust deniers today. We have to treat these people the same way for this shit take, because I know this is on purpose. Amber saying, hi, everyone. I just got here. Was he denying what happened in January? Yes, he was denying that tens of thousands of Iranians were killed by the regime in January. And Ida is saying, Army, please remember, we know the truth thanks to you and Goldie. Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys are like, seriously, like, you guys just not just knowing the information, but spreading the information really helps. Saying, we remember those lives. We will never forget. We stand with you. We love you. Hugs. Be strong. Be peace. Thank you. And we will do the same. We will, hopefully, once Iran is liberated, Israel will have an 80 million army fighting to defend it against demonization globally. Like, we will unleash an Iranian army in defense of Israel. So hopefully we could return the favor one day. And then we also got a super chat from Casey saying Piers and Tucker received money from MEK. I don't know if they receive money from MEK, but honestly, they are good candidates for receiving money from MEK. Like, they're good candidates for that. Like, they fit that, that standard. They do. Oh, we got another super chat by Neela. Neela is saying, or is it Neela? It's Neil. I'm just going to call you Neil. Neil is saying people who stir this shit pot should have to lick the spoon. Oh, I like that. Is that a saying, or did you create that? People who stir the shit pot should have to lick the spoon. Wow, that should be a saying if it's not already one. And saying, love you, Armin, and chat. Bepish. Yes, Bepish. Thank you. That's a very good, guys. We should make this a saying. Did you just invent that? That's powerful. That should be framed or something. That's somebody framed that. I'm gonna print that and frame it and put it behind me. Oh, Neela, okay. It is a saying. Oh, okay. I thought like, wow, Neela, that's pretty good. That's poetic. Okay, so I need to go get ready for our Iran Revolution live show. I think we're now in the music time. It's already playing with Goldie. I'm going to do that with Goldie. So you guys could watch it here on Liberty Politics or on Goldie's channel. It's going to be playing on both. I'm going to go get ready for that, just making sure that I have the most updated news. And yeah, so just make sure, guys, you hit the bell notification so that you get notified every time we go live. We got another super chat. But before I read the super chat, remember that today in 3 hours, we're going to be in our discussion group. So if you want to come talk to me about everything that we discuss here together live or everything else politics related, make sure you come and join the discussion group and come talk to me and all the other people that are there. Let me put the link in the chat for you guys so you could come join. And the link is also, you could scan that QR code and that will also take you there. And also the link is in the bio, the link is in the description, the link is in many places, right? So let me see. So you can see in 3 hours, we will have our next discussion, right? And also if you come to the calendar, you can see all the other discussions that we have. And the fire emoji ones are the ones who are open to everybody, okay? So just come and join us there. So, like, these are, it looks like this, right? So let's see, we have another super chat. I'm saying adding Musab Hassan Youssef to the list of shills for MEK. Yes, yep, that he is. We know for a fact that he is because he copied their talking points. So fuck him. That's a good reminder, Amir. Thank you for that. All right, guys, we got close to 30 super chats today, which is crazy because our target is 10 per live stream. Our target is 10 per live stream, and you guys got it close to 30. So thank you for that. Again, if you guys don't know why I'm counting 10, is because I'm trying to see what that's what, based on my calculation, that's what it takes for me to stop doing my other work and just focus on politics. And that's why I have this 10 goal per live stream. That's what that would help me just shut down or give away, my businesses and the other things I'm doing, because this is where my passion is. Right? All right, guys. So I am going to go to get ready and get updated on the most recent news in the past few hours, because I'm already updated on things from the past 24 hours. I need to make sure that when I go to Iran Revolution Live with Goldie, I have like all the tabs on everything that is happening ready, so that we could go through it together. Oh, and also we got another super chat by Ida saying, hopefully once the Iranian people in Iran are free, you and us wouldn't have to fight in any war. That's a great dream. I just think that it's going to take so long before we get there. Like liberty, there's always going to be war for liberty. But yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's a beautiful dream to have. I just don't know if it's going to happen in our lifetime. Even if we don't have war in Israel or in Iran, we have to keep fighting for liberty globally, right? Like we have to keep fighting for Europe. We have to keep fighting for Ukraine. We have to keep fighting for Taiwan. We have to keep, like, what I know is that Islam will still be around. Communism will still be around. Woke leftist views will be around. Woke right-leaning views would be around. Anti-Israeli views would be around. Anti-Jew hatred will still be around. So as long as these ideas exist, we still have to fight. But yeah, but that's the goal. I mean, they say shoot, like, aim for the stars, land on the moon. Right? It's a beautiful goal to have. Nigeria, all of Africa, actually. Okay, and look at this. Nara saying Javid Shah Vabomida Azadi. Beautiful. And Ida saying, yes, I know, but you know what I mean. I do know what you mean. I do. And we will fight it together. We will fight it together. Once Iran is free, there's so many terrorist groups in the Middle East and North Africa that Iran and Israel need to be fighting together. And okay, guys, need to go. Thank you for everything. Oh, let's see if I, by the way, Ida, am I saying it right? Ukrainian, like Slava Ukrainian? Because Ali said it's like Urumia, or are people just messing with me? Like, can you tell me if I'm saying it okay before I close this? And Cuba, exactly. We need to fight for Cuba. All right, I'm just gonna say it. If if I'm saying it wrong, you could tell me later. Ukraine, Iran. Is Ukraine close enough? You know what? It's okay. I'm just gonna say it. All right, guys. I'm Israel Chai. Slava Ukraine. Long live America. Javicha Payande Iran. See you guys soon. See you guys in 20 minutes.